for the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. Roll call. We have one excused absence from Lisa Porter due to illness. Let the record show that we have present 4 commissioners tonight. Moving right along, I would lead the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, so everyone please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public comments this evening?
I have none.
We'll move right along to presentations of Public Works Department Project Quarterly Update.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for having me. I'm Taylor Abernathy, Principal Civil Engineer here for the Capital Improvement Program. I'm presenting the Public Works Department Project Quarterly Update from April through June of 2018. I hope everybody's had a chance to look it over. The CIP program has 33 projects, some of which are multiple year. They consist of facility, traffic improvement, street improvement, environment, park and landscape improvement projects. Recently at Council, I'll give you a little bit of an additional update. We added 8 additional projects at mid-cycle with a couple additional to come back for further review with them. One of which was the forward funding for the construction of Peachwood Park. This is part of the neighborhood park renovation project. So we'll be starting to get into construction there soon. Give you guys a couple highlights. We're finalizing some bid packages for 3 additional shade structures. That would be the 3 parks that we have pretty ready is El Toro, Kavanaugh Mini, and then Etnies. And then the other large project, park project that we have is the Portola Center Park, which we're anticipating getting turned over from the developer here pretty soon. So that will be another large endeavor that we'll have coming up. But in lieu of going over all of them individually, if there's anything specific you guys want to talk about, I'm here to answer any of your questions.
Okay. Well, comments or questions starting to my left?
None for me, thank you.
Okay. Loretta? Jim?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I
I'm
went
sorry,
too
Jim.
fast.
You did
Loretta?
go too
Sorry.
fast. Any news on removing the plastic plants on the Lake Forest median?
I have no new news
Okay.
as of the moment.
I'm just letting you know, still don't like them.
Yeah, a quick question on Kavanaugh.
Yes.
What did you call that, mini park, or?
Yes.
Where are you putting the shade structure at?
The shade structure is currently configured to go over the little playground equipment that's there.
Kind of where it butts up to Bridger coming the other way?
Yeah,
that
down,
little-
down towards the elbow of the street. So it's where the tiny little bit of amenities that are there.
Just curious, was that requested by residents, or what was the genesis of?
So the genesis was, we went around, we looked at parks. We probably looked at 10 or 12 parks just to kind of assess if there were additional areas that we needed shade. We thought this was one of them, since there's no shade over the playground, the tot lot, apparatus. That's really, it's a very small area. It's inexpensive, so it seemed like low-hanging fruit. Taylor mentioned the other parks. Etnies, putting something in Etnies in the grass area where we have events, and also El Toro Park over the playground equipment. If we have funding left, we're also looking at Pittsford Park, because we have that large
Expansive
playground there
Right.
that is not covered, and it gets pretty hot out there.
Okay, so there was money obviously available to do.
There is, and Taylor was right not to mention it, because we're not sure we can do it yet, but that's what we're hoping, is that we have money left over and we can do Pittsford.
Okay, so that Does that come from what might be left over from the park improvement program
This
kitty,
is-
or a different kitty, or?
So this was funded as a separate CIP project. There was 10 park locations that were
Right.
identified to look at. We did a preliminary survey several months ago. Staff went out and kind of took an inventory and looked at what the shade was and what was the actual need. There was a couple parks that were listed that were felt to be there wasn't a need for the shade. So then the remaining parks are the ones that we have been working on. Kavanaugh Mini is one that there's just not an abundance of shade at that little area. So we thought for the residents, being that shade is usually the highest requested amenity at parks, that this was a good opportunity to kind of tackle that maybe before the complaint and give them a little something as we're touching a variety of different parks.
Right. I'll tell you the reason why I specifically asked about Kavanaugh, that some time ago, during another, call it park renovation project of a different era, Kavanaugh was on the list to do, again, nothing big, because it is so small, but it could have used a little sprucing up and things like that. And at one of these local resident-type meetings, we were told, and I'm not even going to use the word nicely, we were told, hit the road. We don't want anything here. We don't want people coming here. We're happy with what it is. Yeah, and sounds very familiar at times. And so we wound up taking that money and putting it into the, I guess, the big fund for those parks that had a more formal improvement plan for them, allowing us to do different things. So this looks kind of like a little bit of the opposite.
Sure.
Interesting. Thank you.
Closing comment. I'm very impressed with all the activity over the many years that Public Works has been involved with all the multiple projects. And I think from the challenge that Public Works has, because a lot of times when you get into these projects, there's unexpected things that come up that is almost impossible to anticipate. For example, the pond. And we know that you can't know everything up front. You can't really know the performance of your contractors and subs till they actually get involved with the project. Because a lot of times certain expectations were established, and there are times when you're disappointed in the performance of contractors and subs, even though all the due diligence was checked off on all the boxes. So it is a very frustrating thing, isn't it, when you're involved with these projects, because you can't anticipate the execution and performance at all times.
Yes, I mean, ultimately, when you're looking at a publicly bid project, you run the risk of not being able to control and pick and select your contractors. So we have that low bid process, and that is what we have to live with. And in particular, the Veterans Park was some significant challenges from the unforeseen conditions underneath the condition. That park had not been touched in 40 years, and so we are now finding the impacts of a park not being touched and no maintenance from that side.
A lot of the problems that you're faced with was neglect, that's all, and the fact that they weren't addressed, and obviously they became worse and worse. So with the permanent solution that's been proposed, hopefully that goes away, but it's very costly, obviously, and it required a tremendous amount of work and extending the timeline as well, but job well done. I think we need to look at the challenges that the Public Works has and really the execution of all these multiple projects. So thank you for your report. If there's anything further? Okay.
Thank you.
Well, where am I? Okay, minutes. Yes, thank you. Of the regular meeting of the Lake Forest Parks and Recreation conducted on July 19th. Comments, changes?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Please press the appropriate button and move forward. Thank you. We'll move forward to the consent calendar. The discussion topics, July recreational report.
Good evening, Chair Scherer and fellow commissioners. I'm going to be reviewing the activities that we had for the month of July. Just seems like it was yesterday. So we'll start with the 4th of July parade. We'll go in order, not to leave anything out, but it was the 27th annual 4th of July parade. As many of you know, United We Stand. And it seemed as if this year we had a few more spectators than last year. In years past, I checked with Deputy McLennan, and he agreed too. We figured there was about 12,000 spectators, which is just a little bit over our normal attendance, which was really nice to see. We actually saw a lot of those people starting to put their things down the day before, much earlier than in years past. So if you're driving around the neighborhood and you saw all that commotion, yes, you saw it all. We still had the same amount of entries. We had 91 entries. It seems ever since I've been here, it's either 91, 92, 91, 92. So 91 entries again, and that's 2,000 people participating within those 91 entries. So that's really good. Wow. Good to see. Lots of kids, as you saw, as well as older adults, seniors, and our adult car clubs. We also had the camp out. I know, Loretta, you were there at the camp out, so that was nice as well. We max out at, we have 100 people registered. We always have 100 people registered with the waiting list. We actually had to cut the waiting list this year. This event seems to be getting more popular each year and growing, so we may look to expand because we definitely have the room and the space, and it's something that has, become more and more, like I said, popular and asked for and inquired about year after year. And as you know, Maryland's last dance was on July 29th. So that was the last special needs dance that Maryland will be doing. Corey will be taking over from the skate park. He's been helping her out for the last 2 to 3 dances. So he will slide right into that position for now. We had 132 special needs participants. It was so nice. I know Scott and I were both there. They always have the DJ. They have a theme. Those kids are super excited to be there. The Marines were there, of course, always assisting, and Jim and Loretta were there. The next special needs dance will be our Halloween dance and game night. And that'll be on October 27th, and that will be at the sports park because they like to go inside. They'll be playing basketball. We'll have lots of competitions, probably costume contests, those types of things. We also had our 90s concert, our second concert. Summer's almost over. I can't believe it. July 29th, also at Pittsford Park. And that one was also well attended. We had over 2,500 people there with the 90s tributes band. So now we've had 80s, 90s, and next is country. So country with the car show. So that'll be fun back at the sports park the end of this month. The seniors also participated in the July 4th parade. We'll move on to senior events. They are actually going to be receiving an award at the city council meeting on Tuesday. So if you're there, you'll see the seniors win another award for most spirited. So that was neat. Those seniors did a really good job on their float. Even though they're on the train, they always seem to decorate it so cute, and they're always so super excited and cheering along the parade route. Their excursion for the month, they went to the Sawdust Festival. I know they do that every year, but they love going. And they had 13 seniors that participated on July 24th. They love going to those excursions. I tell you, they sign up really fast, and they're waiting in line to do that. They also went to another excursion, which I thought was really interesting. They went to the 911 Emergency Communications Bureau, which for them, some of them didn't even know that existed, like an actual physical location, and those people were actually able to take them on a tour and let them know all about what 911 provides, and then also signing up for Alert OC, which is a new mobile app for them, and anybody in the community for that fact for emergencies. That was our July, but not to say that we don't have anything coming up, because we still do. Farmers Market, if you haven't gone out, Victor and Francisco, I've never seen you there. Please try to attend. There's still a few more weeks, 4 to 8 every Wednesday at the sports park. So try to go out and get there.
A few more weeks. Does it end?
It'll end one day in October.
Okay.
I don't know the date, but in October, because then we get into our, our winter time and it gets too cold. Right now it's hot, so our numbers are kind of like, I don't want to say dropping, but not as popular. And then it'll start getting cold, and then they're not as popular again. So farmers market, there's still a few good weeks. We have a lot of still new vendors coming each week, so it's nice to see. But next Friday will be our last movie in the park, Francisco, Lion King.
Pressure is on.
I hope to see you there.
Going in the calendar.
Okay, August 24th, last movie. August 26th, last concert. So it's the concert and car show at the sports park, 5:30. And the seniors will be going to the Angels game on 9/11, if that isn't cool. We also, I didn't have it on here, that's my fault, but on 9/9, September 9th, will be our Heroes Day event. Please attend. It will be our recognition and our honor to the fallen heroes that we have at Heroes Park. We will be renaming each one of those fields after our 2 deputies and our 2 military gentlemen. I'm working with police services on coordinating that event, along with Jim's helping me as well. And we're going to hopefully make it really special for those individuals and be able to honor them the right way. And if you see our numbers are outstanding. Attendance in the camps are great. Open gym is always amazing. Adult sports is still going strong, and like I said, you'll start to see the numbers decrease just a little bit as school turns the corner and we start school and those kids go back to school and get back into a regular routine. But they'll start to pick up again in October and November. Are there any questions?
I'm just going to say great job. I know it's a lot to pack in 1 month. But it seems like you can do it so well for every month, so thank you.
Well, since this meeting is rather short, we're right at the director's report.
The only thing that I have to report is on Portola Park. It was actually in part of Taylor's CIP update, but the report is we've been waiting for the developer to give us the land. So you might remember we started designing this park back in 2015. The City Council approved it, I believe, in October of 2015, and the plans have been shelf-ready for a while now. And it looks like the developer's getting ready to hand over the land to the city, possibly in September, maybe October. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, which is exciting. Assuming this happens, which I believe it will happen, we would start construction once Veterans Park is finished. Veterans Park, we believe, will be finished in probably October. We will let you know when we have a grand opening scheduled for that park. The tentative date is the 27th, if you want to put that on your calendar, October 27th. It is tentative at this time, but that's what we're working with. So there is a little bit of movement. On the council agenda that just came out today, you may have actually just came out hours ago, you may not have seen it, but for next Tuesday, we've agendized changing the name of the commission to Community Services Commission, and that's something that this commission voted for unanimously about a month ago. And also on the docket, I believe the same meeting is council considering changing the meeting time to 6:30 p.m., which is also something that the commission supported unanimously. So we will know after next Tuesday if these changes will be effected.
And if they are voted to be effective, what would be the commencement date?
It's usually 30 days, so it would likely be
September, would be the September?
possibly September, definitely October, possibly September. I would guess October.
I keep showing up early just maybe wishful thinking.
If the time changes, we'll obviously we'll notify everyone and make sure everyone's informed of that. And that concludes my report.
Well, very good. Now we're at commission comments, and I'll start to my left.
Unfortunately, due to family reasons, I've been MIA the last month, but I will be at the movies in the park. I will be at the concert.
Okay.
And I will be at the farmer's market. So it's going to be an amazing week.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Super. Okay.
Do your entire year in a week, right? Okay.
Do my entire year in a week like a good millennial. And I've been present on social media, which counts for my generation.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I've checked in and everything.
All right, Loretta?
All right, so, I had the privilege of, my friend invited me to Cortez, Colorado, where she has a home, a vacation home. And so we made sure to visit her parks, visit her rec center. For a population of like maybe 7,600 people, they have an amazing rec center. They have workout room, plus they have basketball and badminton. I mean, you name it, they've got it in there. They have a walking loop, because it's wintertime there. They even have a rock climbing wall. And they have a big outside pool and an inside pool with the little floating, what do you call it? Lazy river for the little ones and little slides for the little, I mean, it's amazing. And then on top of that, so this is now, I'm thinking, for our 30th anniversary, they had a hot air balloon rides in their park. They limit it to 20 people, and so they do that, and then they can do like charitable, like, hey, let's do this to support whatever. But I've got she sent me the whole newspaper article, and then at night they do the glow, where they have the hot air balloon set up, and then you see them all lit up. See them all lit up? It was really, really cool. So it was nice that she sent me this whole article. Oh, and here's more. There's pictures in the back.
Is that a monthly newspaper? Or?
You know what? It comes out 3 times a week.
Wow.
So there you go. There's the back of it. And I do have to tell you, I did go to, we also went to their farmer's market, and they have a farmer that comes in with his chilies, and they roast the green chilies right there in the farmer's market. And then they also have like a band, a little, rock and roll band. Maybe a little garage band.
Farmers up there.
Yeah, they are. I'm telling you. I'll tell you some more stuff later. But anyway, to promote their farmers market, I thought this was a good idea. We could borrow it. And they hand out a card that 5 vendors, 5 weeks. So every week you visit a different vendor, and they kind of sign off on the card. And then when you get it all done, you turn it in, and you get like a $5 credit at the farmers market, which I thought was a great idea, because that forces you to meet a different vendor every week. I thought that was a good idea. So there you go. And like I said, maybe we'll consider the hot air balloon for the 30th anniversary. And so anyway, so that's the Cortez trip. And I got to serve lunch today for Senior Chinese Feast, as always, jam-packed. I also went to the special needs dance with Jim and everybody else. That was a lot of fun. They really had a good time, as always. I did get to Despicable Me 3, the movie, and I went to National Night Out. See, now that's what gave me the idea. If they can land the helicopter, the sports park, we can do the hot air balloon rides at the sports park. See, I got this all worked out already. And then, when they have the luncheons for the seniors on Thursdays, they have a remarkable recycling program. I mean, it's all organized. Here go the cups, here goes the food waste, We need to somehow brag about that. Maybe we enter it in CPRS as one of our great programs, especially it's with the seniors, it's being green, the whole bit. But I thought, let's shine out there. Okay? So, that's it. Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, since the summer is winding down, we're going into our fall programs. The farmers market is one of my objectives, since I have not been, so I will certainly want to go this next Wednesday. This is the first of September. Is that what it is?
No, not yet. Don't rush it.
I mean, I'm trying to figure the next. I have it. What is it?
22nd.
Oh, August 22nd. So I want to make sure I have the right date on that.
Yeah.
Yep, farmers market. Okay, got it. I got it in my schedule here. So I certainly want to visit as well. But I have nothing else to comment on at this time. I'm excited about the veterans and some of the activities that have been started that will be completed in the fall. So that'd be a nice feeling of accomplishments. And the fact that we're changing our name finally to reflect what we actually do is great. And the early start of the meetings, and I think that's terrific. And gosh, we have an election coming up this year in a new format, so that should be interesting, to say the least. We've never really voted the way that it's structured by districts. So I'm kind of interested how that works out. Other than that, I deem the... Oh, I'm not fast enough on the gravel here.
We wouldn't let you forget.
Gosh! Okay.
I know you're unplugged. You shared that with me in a recent conversation.
I
But
apologize.
Did you also sustain a concussion? That
More than likely.
you can't remember, S.
The
and-
floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay. If not, I would have stayed afterwards and talked to the chairs. Yes, attended National Night, or National Afternoon Out, because it was still pretty late at the time, to just kind of an ancillary comment to your comment, if we can land a helicopter at the sports park, we should be able to do a hot air balloon too. There is maybe 170-degree difference between flying a helicopter and it's still considered flying a hot air balloon, so it's not quite as easy. And from my standpoint, it was very interesting seeing the helicopter come in and land, and where the helicopter wound up, considering the landing area. And I don't know if it was a novice pilot or what, but he picked the area he put down closest to trees and people in all of that big expanse. So that was interesting, watching these people scurry from the rotor wash. But anyway, it was the event. I know it's a national event, and I know it's typically on the night of a council meeting, but I'm not sure if we couldn't do some more promotion for it. I know since the advent of Jonathan and Skylar, it does get a little bit more, and maybe that's going to start helping it, because personally would think especially for kids, there's a lot of neat stuff out there for them to go see. And, I don't know if we can, it's during a time the schools are not in session, but somehow create an awareness, maybe through OCSD, that this event exists, because I think it is worth publicizing, especially in this day and age. So, it was nice, but I don't think it was too heavily attended, at least for the hour that I was there. A question on something. I know when we put in the new registration system, like everything else, there's some glitches and hiccups and that, but in the opinion of staff, are we kind of over those, and is there a comfort factor with it on, I'm going to say both sides?
Yes. I should actually let Laura answer, but I was actually amazed at how few huge catastrophic issues we had. We didn't really have any catastrophic issues, and it's something that touches anyone who registers online for the program or pays online. It touches every program. So considering that, we had really, it felt like the same minor glitches that we usually have. And Vicki really was responsible for coordinating that. It was months of training, individuals, groups, working out the kinks in the software. So she isn't here; she's on vacation. But she did a great job with that. So I think it's a work in progress.
Yeah, a lot of the glitches were at the beginning, just the transferring of people from the old system to the new system. So their lack of of knowledge or knowing that we were switching over, even though we put out all the publications and letting them know and alerting them and sending them emails, and then it was a mad rush to, oh my gosh, summer registration starts in 5 minutes. So those were the glitches. Those were the complaints that we received because they're in panic mode and trying to find their kids something to do for the summer. And then, of course, with our camps filling up in 15 minutes, by the time they figured it out, it was too late. But we've worked out the kinks, and every day, we figure something else out or figure a new way to do something that helps us on staff's end. But as far as the customer side, everybody seems to be pretty happy. It's user friendly, very similar to what class was, just kind of like on steroids. So yeah, we're in a good place. And although it seems like, wow, why did you guys do it in summer? It couldn't have been any more chaotic to try it, but we conquered it, and so now everything from then on is piece of cake.
Yeah.
And we just had our fall registration on Tuesday, and same, even better. Yeah, it was smooth sailing. So we've gone through those hiccups and just moving forward. Yeah, and again, it didn't stop our numbers. So yeah.
And I think you would have gotten that comment. You said, why did you do it during the summer if you did it in the fall as well? Because it's the people that are wanting to do something at that time, they encounter a difficulty, and suddenly it's, whatever. But that's the important thing, that the customer base out there is happy. It's not affecting our numbers, which is great. A question, and I don't know what has been done since the last council meeting. A resident, right at the beginning of the meeting, public comment, a first public comment related to Mountain View Park. I briefly, and I didn't even have a chance to take a picture because of timing, drove by there, and it's kind of, in my mind, a little bit amazing. I think almost 2 years ago, we talked about literally the same issues that she brought up, and it seemed that there was I don't want to say a priority necessarily, but that it was going to be turned over to Public Works to get it fixed. It didn't look like anything had been really done in the areas that she commented on. So is there kind of, now that she came, an update to that?
There is. We actually so Public Works, there are a couple of things. I don't disagree with you. I was not satisfied with the condition of the court the last time someone came and commented about it, and we've raised that in our meetings. It is, coincidentally, it was prioritized this time around in the sports court resurfacing. More importantly, what I think has changed is that Public Works has hired a new supervisor who's in charge of facilities. So previously, the person that was in charge of fixing things like that, whether it was through a contract or however they were going to do it, that person also had other duties. They did irrigation and landscaping and things like that. So now there's one person who's dedicated, who's wrapping his arms around that, pretty much all the facilities. He just started, I want to say, a couple months ago. So what I think is happening is that in the first year we're really going to get everything ship-shape, and then after that I think that he'll be more than capable of maintaining things to a higher standard, including that tennis court.
Okay, good. With the shift from Marina to Brightview, cursory observation, it looks better. And I don't know if that's something that is shared within the Department of Public Works, but good move, at least so far. Last but not least, on parks. I've bugged you to death about one facility, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I did not know, which I probably should have, is that Region 85 does not own those goals, or that they do own them as opposed to the city owning them. In a lot of the South Orange County cities, the goals are owned by the city, and the user groups get to use them. And the city will lock them up. So, again, a little bit different angle on this. But one of the things I did find in the 12 years I had the pleasure, privilege, slavery job of administering the AYSO program in 10 cities with 25,000 kids as a volunteer. It was very high paying. Is that overall, a lot of the regions really were, from the city standpoint, even though they were nice people, they were poor business partners. We want this, we want that, we're, a national nonprofit, et cetera, et cetera. And they took they didn't really care, I'm going to say it openly, about ensuring that they could do whatever they could do to make the fields pristine and keep the fees down and things like that. So, matter of fact, in one of the other cities, I finally had to wind up removing the regional commissioner because of so many complaints from the city as to they didn't really want him around anymore. But I think as we move forward, new fee schedule, new rules, that in our city we should put in there some ways of doing the business, meaning season's over, they're your goals, you have two choices. One, remove them and store them at your expense. Or number two, make a slightly lower investment, buy some chains and some locks, and they have been moved in Regency now to an area where, and they're mouth to mouth, and you lock them up and they can't be used because it does not help the field renovation effort when the goals are just sitting there and people are using. And it actually adds to the expense. So I think really soccer is probably the main user group that needs to be addressed to, because baseball doesn't have any such kind of equipment. None of the other sports really do. And again, to reinforce in when they get their allocations the idea of repositioning goals during the season, and if not, I would say put in a fine policy that if you're going to damage the fields because you're too lazy, speaking very openly, to do things that will help us, you're going to have to pay more money because it's going to cost us more money to maintain it.
I think it's a fair observation. And what happened is when we called them, they were actually happy to lock them up. They couldn't do it quickly enough, so I think we sent staff out there with chains and locks, and they were fine with that. But what we've done is it was a very good observation. We've asked staff to look at other parks where we may have ASO goals, and just to make sure that we're consistent across the board, lock them up in the off season.
Right.
So thank you for the observation.
Okay. Special needs, again, the dance was great. I think it was probably, attendance-wise, one of the larger ones. 'Cause usually there are around 80 to 90 people of special needs folks that are there. But everybody again seemed to have a good time. We had a goodly number of Marines come up, had a ball there too. One of the other special needs thing that I've kind of gotten involved with is this ad hoc committee that is going on, and we had our second meeting, and it's got a laundry list of, I want to say 20-some people, and the attendance has been seven this last time, and I want to say 8 the time before. And of that large number, 3 of them have been one-timers, so it's not that consistent. And I think they're looking for direction. We gave them some, hopefully, guidance to have a mission statement, figure out what the purpose is of doing this, because I think Becky, is one that she's kind of on a mission that I think even she almost knows that it's never going to go anywhere, of trying to make everything totally inclusive, and it just can't be. But along the lines of special needs overall, there are, from a sports side, a number of special needs events in baseball, soccer, and basketball that do occur. We have a wonderful facility called the Sports Park. Would we give consideration to using that facility to host, let's say, an event for special needs groups?
Absolutely. I know that we have the Shooting Stars program for basketball. We have a similar
Right.
program for baseball.
Challenger for baseball?
Yeah, we've done it with soccer. Absolutely, we would.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And we've done that. I just can't remember.
It was before my time.
I think it was softball, but we have done that in the past.
Okay, because the only glitch to it, it might, but then again, it becomes a city event, the user groups have to live with that, occasionally taking a number of hours out of their allocation to do that. But with advance notice,
They could do it with advance notice.
yeah, advance notice, they can do it because it is a city facility.
We can also make it one of the 11 tournaments.
True, yeah.
But as long as we know in advance
Yeah.
and we work with someone and get them to go through the procedure
Sure,
to apply
okay.
for that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you much, and staff, again, another, for some reason, this didn't seem as thick, but it's, I don't know why, it didn't weigh that much, but again, a tremendous amount of very positive activity. Thank you for that.
If there's nothing
Now you
else, now I can
Yeah.
gravel the meeting.